A pet peeve is when people say you're too assertive. Well, as Ivna will tell you over and over and over, and as will I, assertive communication is polite, respectful communication. So what I say to that is, how can you be too polite or too respectful? You've got to remember something, that just because someone tells you the moon is made of green cheese, it doesn't make it true. So when you start appropriately, what do I mean by that? When you appropriately start to assert yourself and do not allow people to take advantage of you, and you say no to nicely and politely and pleasantly to inappropriate or inconvenient requests, you will be confronted. You will be told, oh, look how aggressive you are, or you're not being cooperative, or you're so selfish. Just because they tell you this doesn't make it so. They want to intimidate you back to being the doormat, to doing their bidding at every possibility. So just because someone says you're aggressive, they're not using the word appropriately. And as long as you have the confidence to know that you were polite and you were respectful, let them say whatever they want to say, because it's going to happen. And you need to be prepared for that. The confrontation of your appropriate assertions.
And so how can women make themselves prepared? Because it's a really hard thing for someone who's been quiet and passive all their lives to actually accept, and who have been running away from conflict and confrontation, to actually accept it and deal with it as it comes.
Little by little. You wrote a wonderful article for Forbes magazine, I recall, several months back. I believe it was October or November, right? About
yes.
And several experts recommend role-playing situations, and I'm a big proponent of role-playing. So role play the situation in a safe environment with a friend who takes the part of an aggressor, or someone who confronts you and says, gee, you're so selfish. And how could you respond? One of my favorite responses is, oh, well, you're entitled to your perception, right? I choose to see my behavior differently. Okay, practice that with your friends so that when this occurs, and it will, I promise you, you will get an opportunity to put this into practice. You will feel like you've been in this situation before, visual imagery, role playing, and you'll be able to say, that's an interesting opinion, or you're certainly entitled to your perception. I choose to view my behavior differently. Okay, another example is role play a different situation. Again, you're so selfish, because that's such a common one. Well, I find it really interesting that people call other people selfish when they don't do what you want them to do. Again, practice it until it becomes second nature. Another one is, who here has ever been told by someone who protested an inappropriate remark, you're too sensitive? Raise your hand. You're too sensitive. Well, practice role play with a friend telling you that as aggressively as she or he can, and try responding, interesting. Why is it always the insensitive people who call others too sensitive? Or another one I like is, you're too sensitive. Well, maybe you're not sensitive enough. There's ways to assertively respond that are polite, respectful, and not let the verbal bully rattle your emotional cage, because bullies win when we're upset.